Welcome to quiz time. How about some more questions for baby boomers? 100 more. Because it keeps us young, stretches our brains, and we learn stuff too. Let's see what we can do here, shall we? Let's have a little fun answering questions. All right. Which beverage company first introduced the slogan, "The pause that refreshes"? Was that Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola, or was it Dr. Pepper? The pause that refreshes, as you recall, is Coca-Cola. It's the real thing too, and a few others. Beef stroganoff originated in which country? Is that from Hungary, Russia, or is that a Polish dish? Beef stroganoff. Well, that does sound yummy, doesn't it? And that comes from Russia. Which jazz musician was nicknamed Satchmo? Was that Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, or was that the nickname for Count Basie? Old Satchmo, that was Louis Armstrong. The Marshall Plan primarily aided which continent? Was it Asia, Africa, or Europe? The Marshall Plan was all about rebuilding Europe. Which cooking technique involves browning meat before slow cooking? Is it poaching, braising, or sautéing? And that technique is called braising. Chuck Berry's Johnny Be Good became famous during which musical era? Was it the big band age, the jazz age, or rock and roll? Go, 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 Johnny, go. Rock and roll, of course. Johnny Be Good. Which airline was known as the world's most experienced airline? Was that TWA, Pan American, or Eastern Airlines? The world's most experienced airline. That would be Pan Am. The Eisenhower interstate system transformed which aspect of American life? Was it travel, education, or communication? All those fast-traveling roads around the United States transformed? Travel. It transformed travel. Which French mother sauce is the base for hollandaise? Veloute, bechamel, or butter sauce? And that would be butter sauce. Elvis Presley's recording contract was first published by which label? Was it Columbia, Sun Records, or RCA Victor? His recording contract was purchased by Sun Records. The GI Bill primarily benefited which group? Students, veterans, or farmers? The GI Bill. If you serve, we will pay for your education for veterans. Which cut of beef is traditionally used for beef Wellington? Is it strip steak, ribeye, or tenderloin? Beef Wellington comes from the tenderloin. Miles Davis pioneered which jazz style in the late 1950s? Was it bebop, fusion, or cool jazz? Miles Davis. He was a pioneer of cool jazz. The House Un-American Activities Committee primarily investigated which threat? Organized crime, communist influence, or corporate fraud? And they investigated communist influence. Escargot is prepared using which type of creature? Is escargot oysters, snails, or clams? Escargot. Snails. Yum. Which television variety show launched many careers in the 1950s? Was it Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts, The Steve Allen Show, or The Ed Sullivan Show? And that was The Ed Sullivan Show. We've got the shoe for you. NATO was formed as a response to which geopolitical threat? Soviet influence, Chinese expansion, or nuclear proliferation? And that was a response to Soviet influence. Which ingredient is essential for authentic carbonara sauce? Cream, butter, or egg yolks? For authentic carbonara sauce, mind you. Well, you've got to have egg yolks. Buddy Holly's band was called. Was it the Flames, the Crickets, or the Comets? Buddy Holly's band was called the Crickets. The Nuremberg trials established principles for which legal concept? Civil rights, war crimes, or international trade? The Nuremberg trials prosecuted war criminals. Bouillabaisse traditionally includes which type of seafood base? Is it shellfish only, Mediterranean fish, or salmon? Bouillabaisse uses Mediterranean fish as a base. Which composer created the musical West Side Story? Was that Richard Rodgers, Leonard Bernstein, or was that Cole Porter? West Side Story was created by Leonard Bernstein. The Cold War term, Iron Curtain, was popularized by which leader? Was it Winston Churchill, Harry Truman, or Joseph Stalin that made that term popular? That was Winston Churchill. Creme brulee requires which cooking technique for the top? Broiling, torching, or baking? And that would be torching the top. Ray Charles blended gospel with which musical genre? Jazz, rhythm and blues, or was it country? Ray Charles blended gospel and rhythm and blues. The Levittown communities revolutionized which aspect of American society? Was it urban planning? Was it suburban housing? Or rural development? They revolutionized suburban housing. Which wine region produces authentic champagne? Is it California, France, or Italy? What do you mean, authentic champagne? Well, it's authentic champagne if it comes from France. Aretha Franklin was known as the Queen of what? Was she the Queen of the Blues, the Queen of Soul, or the Queen of Gospel? Aretha Franklin was the Queen of Soul. McCarthyism primarily targeted which profession? The entertainment industry, military officers, or did they target business executives? Oh, McCarthyism went after the entertainment industry. Cocoa vin traditionally uses which type of alcohol? Brandy, wine, or sherry? And it traditionally uses wine. Which guitarist influenced the British invasion bands? Was it Chuck Berry? Was it B.B. King? Or was it Muddy Waters? It was Chuck Berry. The baby boom occurred primarily due to which social factor? Was it post-war optimism? Was it economic prosperity? Or did the government incentivize people to have babies? It was a result of post-war optimism. Béarnaise sauce differs from hollandaise by including which herb? Tarragon, chives, or parsley? Béarnaise sauce includes tarragon. The Motown sound originated in which city? Was it Memphis, Chicago, or was it Detroit? It was Detroit. The domino theory influenced American policy in which region? Was it Southeast Asia, Europe, or Latin America? And the domino theory influenced policy in Southeast Asia. Gazpacho soup is traditionally served at which temperature? Hot, cold, or room temperature? Gazpacho soup is generally served cold. Which folk singer popularized protest songs in the 1960s? Was it Pete Seeger, Bob Dylan, or Joan Baez? And that would be Bob Dylan. The Warren Commission investigated which major event? Was it Pearl Harbor, the JFK assassination, or civil rights violations? And they investigated the JFK assassination. Risotto requires which specific type of rice? Basmati, arborio, or jasmine? Risotto, that requires arborio rice. The British invasion was led by which band? Was it the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, or was it the Kinks? The British invasion was led by the Beatles. Brown versus Board of Education addressed which social issue? Voting rights, school segregation, or employment discrimination? Brown versus Board of Education addressed school segregation. Which cooking method is used for Peking duck? Is it roasting, grilling, or steaming? Peking duck is cooked by roasting. Janis Joplin was associated with which music festival? Is she associated with Woodstock, the Newport Folk, or the Monterey Pop Festivals? Janis Joplin is most associated with Woodstock. The space race began with which Soviet achievement? Was it a lunar mission, the Sputnik launch, or the Yuri Gagarin flight? The space race began with the Sputnik launch. Sushi-grade fish must meet which primary requirement? Saltwater origin, freshness standards, or a specific species? Sushi-grade fish must meet freshness standards. For sure. Which British band wrote Satisfaction? The Who, the Rolling Stones, or the Beatles? That would be the Rolling Stones. The Civil Rights Act primarily addressed which form of discrimination? Gender, racial, or religious? And that would be racial discrimination. Dim sum originated in which country? China, Japan, or Thailand? And that would be China. Jimi Hendrix revolutionized which instrument? The keyboard, the electric guitar, or the bass guitar? And he revolutionized the electric guitar. The Great Society programs were initiated by which president? Was it Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, or John F. Kennedy? And that would be Lyndon Johnson. Paella originated in which Spanish region? Catalonia, Valencia, or Andalusia? Paella. That originated in Valencia. The Supremes were part of which record label? Were they Atlantic, Stax, or Motown? The Supremes. Well, they, of course, were Motown. The Berlin Wall divided which city? Was the Berlin Wall dividing Berlin, Munich, or Vienna? The Berlin Wall split Berlin. Tempura cooking technique came to Japan from which country? China, Portugal, or Korea? Where did tempura cooking originate? And that would come from Portugal. Simon and Garfunkel's music was classified as, was it pop, folk rock, or rock and roll? Simon and Garfunkel's music was considered folk rock, or is considered folk rock. The Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world closest to which threat? Nuclear war, economic collapse, or World War III? And it got us closer to nuclear war. Mole sauce is traditional to which cuisine? South American, Mexican, or Spanish? Mole sauce, I would guess. Mexican. Mole. The Beach Boys sound was associated with which lifestyle? New York urban, California surfin', or Southern country? The Beach Boys sound. California surfin'. Medicare was designed to serve which population? Senior citizens, low-income families, or military veterans? Medicare was designed to serve senior citizens. Tandoori cooking uses which type of oven? A wood-fired oven, a conventional oven, or a clay oven? Tandoori cooking. And that uses a clay oven. Johnny Cash was known as the man in what? Is he the man in black, the man in blue, or the man in white? He's the man in black. The Voting Rights Act targeted which discriminatory practice? Poll taxes, literacy tests, or property requirements? The Voting Rights Act targeted literacy tests. Sashimi differs from sushi by lacking which component? Is it seaweed, rice, or fish that separates it from sushi? It lacks rice. The Doors' lead singer was he Ray Manzarek, Jim Morrison, or Robbie Krieger? The Doors' lead singer was Jim Morrison. The Miranda rights resulted from which Supreme Court decision? Was it Gideon versus Wainwright, Miranda versus Arizona, or was it Mapp v. Ohio? Miranda rights come from Miranda versus Arizona. Fondue originated in which country? Did it come from Austria, Switzerland, or France? Fondue originates from Switzerland. Cream's guitarist was it Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, or was it Eric Clapton who played guitar for Cream? Eric Clapton. The Watts riots highlighted which social problem? Was it racial tension, economic inequality, or police brutality? The Watts riots highlighted racial tension. Quiche Lorraine traditionally contains which meat? Bacon, ham, or sausage? Quiche Lorraine contains bacon. Led Zeppelin's music combined rock with which genre? Country, blues, or jazz? And Led Zeppelin is a mix of rock and blues. The Kerner Commission investigated which social issue? Was it poverty, urban riots, or were they investigating drug abuse? The Kerner Commission was investigating urban riots. Osso buco is made from which cut of meat? Beef short ribs, veal shanks, or pork shoulder? And that comes from veal shanks. Crosby, Stills, and Nash represent which musical movement? Was it psychedelic rock, folk rock, or country rock? Crosby, Stills, and Nash represented folk rock. The 26th Amendment lowered which age requirement? Was it the voting age requirement, the marriage age requirement, or the military service age requirement? It dropped the voting age from 21 to 18. Ratatouille is considered a dish from which French region? Is it from Burgundy, Provence, or Normandy? Ratatouille comes from Provence. Santana's music blended rock with which style? Jazz, Latin, or blues? Santana's music is a blend of rock and roll and Latin. The Pentagon Papers revealed information about which conflict? Was it the Cold War, the Korean War, or the Vietnam War? The Pentagon Papers revealed information about the Vietnam War. Borscht is traditionally made from which vegetable? Cabbage, beets, or carrots? Borscht is made from beets. The Jackson 5's record label was it Atlantic, Motown, or Columbia? Jackson 5's record label was Motown. The Environmental Protection Agency was created to address which concern? Natural disasters, pollution, or the energy crisis? And that would be pollution. Goulash originated in which country? Austria, Hungary, or does it come from the Czech Republic? Goulash originated in Hungary. Creedence Clearwater Revival's music style was it folk rock, psychedelic rock, or swamp rock? CCR's music style could be called swamp rock. The moon landing fulfilled which presidential promise? Was it Kennedy's promise, Johnson's promise, or was it Eisenhower's promise? The moon landing was Kennedy's promise because it was hard. Bouillabaisse requires which cooking liquid? Cream, fish stock, or wine? Bouillabaisse requires fish stock. Johnny Mitchell's music was primarily classified as, was she a country artist, a rock artist, or a folk artist? Well, she was classified as a folk artist. But why'd we have to label them? Don't get me started. The War Powers Act limited which presidential authority? Economic policy, military action, or foreign diplomacy? The War Powers Act limited presidential authority to commit military action. Sauerbraten is a traditional dish from which country? Is it from Switzerland, Austria, or Germany? Sauerbraten is from Germany. The Allman Brothers pioneered which musical style? Country rock, blues rock, or was it Southern rock? And their style was Southern rock. Affirmative action policies address which social goal? Economic equality, equal opportunity, or was it educational funding? And it was addressing equal opportunity. Cassoulet traditionally includes which type of beans? Kidney beans, white beans, or black beans? And cassoulet includes white beans. Neil Young's music often featured which instrument prominently? Was it the harmonica, the piano, or was it the guitar? Neil Young prominently used the guitar. The Pentagon Papers were published by which newspaper? Was it the Los Angeles Times, the Washington Post, or the New York Times? The Pentagon Papers were published by the New York Times. Chopino originated in which American city? Boston, San Francisco, or New Orleans? And that dish originated in San Francisco. Fleetwood Mac's most successful lineup included which female vocalist? Christine McVie, Stevie Nicks, or Lindsey Buckingham? The most successful lineup. That included Stevie Nicks. The Camp David Accords addressed which regional conflict? Was it Central America, Southeast Asia, or conflict in the Middle East? The Camp David Accords addressed issues in the Middle East. Pho soup originated in which country? Is pho from Thailand, Vietnam, or Cambodia? Pho is from Vietnam. Pink Floyd's concept albums explored which themes? Nature and environment, or psychology and society, or was it love and relationships? Floyd explored psychology and society. Deep stuff. Détente represented a shift in which international relationship? Europe and Asia's, the U.S. and the Soviets, or the U.S. and China's relationship? Détente, all about the USA versus the Soviet Union. Wiener Schnitzel traditionally uses which type of meat? Pork, veal, or chicken? Wiener Schnitzel is made from veal, traditionally. The Eagles represented which musical style? Were they hard rock? Were they folk rock? Or were they country rock? The Eagles. They were a country rock group. That's it, question 100. And I know you did an amazing job. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Put your score in the comments, please. And hey, since you're here and got nothing else to do, check out these videos. They're a lot of fun too. And we enjoy playing them with you. Have a good one. I'll catch you next time.